Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Hasbanallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Johnnie's Bite. This morning, I say I am deeply underwhelmed by the situation of the people in the Wager area. And I feel their pain, no doubt. I feel their pain because when your brother or your sister or any human being is in distress, you must feel for them, no matter the circumstance. The first is to protect life and property. When we are done doing that, we'll ask the questions and we'll expect the answers to be given. We will continue to ask the questions about our IMF engagement. We will not forget and ask the questions and ask what is the detail that we are presenting to the IMF. And why is it taking so long for us to put together a team of CSOs and media and other experts so that they can assist in these conversations? Because whether you like it or not, we will have that post-COVID economic recovery program. Salaries may be cut, allowances may be yanked off, and some other things. So we need to be bracing ourselves for the reality, but we need to be kept in the picture. We will not forget about that. We will not forget about the issues of corruption. But while we tackle all of that, and we are also impressing upon the president to change his team, the losses being declared by the state-owned enterprises and all of those issues, we will pause to talk about Galamsey briefly. And you see, we will look at all these issues at the time so that we are not thrown a red herring and then we follow it and forget the other issues. No. Yesterday, I told you how the international world is beginning to reject our cocoa. I have told you how now the government says, 2% of only our cocoa farms is gone. That's what the government is saying. I wish that they had followed us into the bush to do the reports that we have brought. And then they will know that it is actually more than the 2% that they are quoting. You see, what we do with such situations when we are not candid enough to admit that there is a bigger problem than we see, and we try to downplay it and say, it's only 2%. Even if it's 0.05 or 0.0001, it's a problem. Galamsey has become an albatross on our necks. Mr. President, you promised to put your presidency on the line. Oh, you did. And what that means is that, like Dr. Kwabena Donkor did, if I cannot give you power in so and so number of days, I will leave. You should have left, Mr. President. You put your presidency on the line. Galamsey, as we have it now, is worse than when you made that promise. Galamsey, as we have it now, is worse than we have experienced under your leadership. Your leadership that you put on the line, sir, is worse. And when you put your presidency on the line, you should have honorably left by now. But you are holding on and still making statements. You put your presidency on the line. What that means is that if I fail in tackling it, which you have admitted that you have done so many initiatives, yet we have not achieved the results we are looking for, you should have left, Mr. President. You should have. Because when you put something on something and that something is not achieved, you leave. But we run a democracy, so you have a full 4-year term. Run it. But by all means, Mr. President, remember that you gave us a pledge. And you told us that you had put your presidency on the line to fight it, and you don't care. In fact, one of the things you said is that even if you have to fight it to the extent that you only do one term, you would. And if you lose political power, you would. You said that. And then in 2020, when we had seen to the extent to which Galamsey had become so endemic and so dangerous to all of us and become a threat to us, you were talking about 4 more to do more. Suddenly, Galamsey was put on the back burner, and we're talking about politics. Did I hear you say we don't want to put politics in it, Mr. President? Oh, yeah, politics played a part in it. And I'm happy now that we are coming to the realization that this must not be politicized. Because both people on your side and both people on the other side. There's a tape I have which said that me a me pay juma, me ba be pay juma ma mbrantie no, enye no kreda, say me ba ama Galamsey jai, me inchomuda. You see, there's a tape like that. 2016, there's a tape like that. But you have said we should not put politics in there. So yes, we will not put politics in there. But just so you know that there are key political actors within. Then he played a video of the president warning the MMDCs for me.
You are my representatives in each of your metropolises, municipalities, and districts. You are the representatives of the president. It cannot be that the president at the national level is waging a war against Galamsey, and you at the local level, my representatives, are compromising that fight. That cannot work. And I will not be in a position to protect anybody against whom evidence is marshaled to show their complicity. I won't do it.
Mr. President, you see, there's always a caveat to put to some of these statements you make. Very bold statement, but in the end, then you water it down. Now you're asking for evidence. Good show. I remember that in the Charles V.C. matter, he said, bring evidence. Everything that said, he said, bring evidence. Of course, you're a lawyer, so the name of the game is evidence. We should bring evidence. But Mr. President, we had to wait for 9 long months for people to go through vetting of different sorts. Contrary to Act 936, the Local Governance Act, you offended the law, Mr. President. We waited for 9 long months without MMDCEs in this country. 9 long months. Some of them in those mining areas were retained even when the evidence on the ground showed that they had actually failed. You retained them after waiting for 9 long months to get MMDCEs. We have not forgotten. And you have not told us that you are sorry for breaking the law, literally. 9 long months, Act 936, I've read it from cover to cover. There's nowhere that says that we should wait for 9 long months before you nominate people to be approved by the assemblies. 9 long months we waited for MMDCs. Today you are warning them. And they are your representatives, as you rightly said. But you see, they are not accountable to the people because, again, you said we were going to vote for our own MMDCs by 2018. You didn't add political touch to it. Article 2431. It gives you the power to nominate for approval MMDCs. Article 55.3 is what abhors from, precludes us from introducing partisan politics into our MMDC-ship. When you told us in 2016, Mr. President, we're going to get a chance to vote for our own MMDCs who will be our representatives at the local level, the presidents at the district and municipalities, we were happy. And that's why people voted for you. Then you got in and you said you wanted to have politics infused in it. And that was where the disagreement came. You have not kept your word, Mr. President, on our election of MMDCs. Because I tell you, if the people were electing their own MMDCs, no MMDCs will endorse Galamsey anywhere or be engaged in it. Bosumi Freho, I played that tape today. MMDC is giving guidelines on how to bring Chinese in. Oh yes, I'll play that tape today. But Mr. President, you are asking for evidence. Good, I'll give you the evidence. Don't look far. Then he pulled that Daily Graphic story. Haji Halima Mahama, she's a lawyer, she's a minister, cabinet minister. She was seated at the table with you most of the time, Mr. President. And she's also a former MP. She's now an ambassador. She was a minister for local government and rural development, Mr. President. You remember? And I remember on the 11th of January 2017 when you were nominated and the charge you gave to her. I have that tape. Mr. President, you were very clear. So she's a lawyer, she's a lawmaker, she's a cabinet minister, she's now an ambassador. She couldn't have spoken without emphasis and evidence. You say you are looking for evidence. When did Haji Halima Mahama speak? Haji Halima Mahama spoke in September 2018. It's a story by Zadok KJC, General News. Ministry to name and sack MMDCs engaged in Galamsey. 2018. You're looking for evidence. The evidence is right under your nose, Mr. President. So now I say some metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives are said to be engaging in illegal mining, popularly referred to as Galamsey. The Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Haji Halima Mahama, who disclosed this, said the government will soon name and sack all such MMDCs. I tell you what, most of them have been retained, if not all of them. Now, it says that the minister, she added that the involvement of MMDCs in illegal mining was thwarting the government's efforts to fight the menace, and disclosed further that the government had all the names of the executives involved in the practice. Mr. President, this is the Law of Evidence 101. Let me read it again. It says she added that the involvement of the MMDCs in illegal mining was thwarting the government's efforts to fight the menace, and disclosed further that the government had all the names of the executives involved in the practice. She said it. That as a minister, as a lawyer, as a lawmaker, she was speaking to MMDCs at a retreat in a bid to fight Galamsey, Operation Galamstop, Operation Vanguard, Operation Hot 1 and 2. She said, we have all the names and we will soon name and shame 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Some of those people have been retained. Where is Haji Halima Mahama's list? Mr. President, make that call. You are looking for evidence. I just showed you where to find evidence. Maybe you forgot. I'm showing you where to find the evidence. So it's not enough to speak fluent and lucid English and to tell us that, oh, if evidence is adduced, then you will deal with the people. It is not enough. I have just showed you, Mr. President, show commitment. Your own people, your own backyard, and the buck stops with you. Haji Halima Mahama, a lawyer, a lawmaker, a minister, and now an ambassador, said she had evidence. Please call and collect the evidence and deal with the people. They are in the room. They were in the room with you yesterday. And I've said the people who tell us that they are fighting Galamsey are themselves the people engaged in Galamsey. Haji Halima Mahama said it. 2018. So, Mr. President, if you are looking for evidence, call them. You said you won't shield them. I believe you. I have no doubt. I have no reason to doubt you. Call Haji Halima Mahama, Mr. President, and collect evidence and deal with them. Danny, play Professor Primpong Boateng's video for me. Party Nyeska, play the video for me.
No, I don't even know this Emerson Pauka. Who is he?
Emerson Pauka, member of parliament for AAT.
I don't know him. Because you're like
I said that last week, who chamber.
And the thing is true. Please go out. Don't annoy me today. Please walk out.
Prof,
no, please. Don't simply what you're talking. I don't like it.
Prof, say anytime about
no, but see, if you come out to accuse me, I don't like it. You go when I'm ready because I'm doing something for tomorrow.
No, Prof, I thought would you. Maybe when many don't wait any about with regards to young and physical come apart.
Yes.
Who Prof? And our mommy authorization. Some informal team, na message have no money save money.
Yes.
While Prof now sang catch say, "Yeah, team na message." Me fa gizo na fa kan. Yes, sir.
But do you tell me what is happening maybe?
Oh, Prof.
We talk about the framework. Part. You know, say part of this, and it's okay. Let's go to me now. You go to the concession. Say what to me or concession. So you go there, inspect the place. That's from a team. But the kind of one can't tell say what we I'm going to go for your plan. I don't know. But we talk about the framework.
One casa prana will see more quarter. I brought back as area ho baby. These are mobile suggestions. Area ho baby. I want more me inquire. One casa prana will see more. It's so much as
no. We are talking. No. Don't bother anything.
That was a video, a secret recording, involving one regional executive of the New Patriotic Party who's leading a country now and telling us we should rally around the flag to fight illegal mining. A minister of state, a cabinet minister at that, minister for environment, science, technology, and innovation at the time, one of the world's most respected surgeons, Professor Frimpong Boateng, whose son was also implicated in that video. He was part of the 10-member interministerial committee that the president set up to help to fight Galamsey. Haji Ali Mahama was part, Professor Frimpong Boateng was part, Dominic Nitiwo was part, Ambrose Derry was part, Kojo Ponkrumah was part, Lance Minister Amewu was part. 10 of them put together. The secretary is my own brother at the time, Charles Bisu. Who in that video, and I'm asking you, Mr. President, the MMDCs that Hajalima Maha said she had the evidence and that we will soon name and shame in 2018. Who in that video was punished? One, you want us to join you, you must first show working at the show boy. Who in that video was punished? Two, that party in Yasika video, which of the 3 or 4 people, whoever was in the room, who has been punished for Galamsey? Who has been held to it? Mr. President, this again is evidence. Audio, no lie. Names were mentioned. Former General Secretary of the MPP, Chairman Wuntumi, they were all mentioned. Akunta Mani, all of them were mentioned. Who was punished in that video? If you want us to trust you, you must come to the table with trust. Party in Yasika, that was the video. I've told you how Haji Halima Mahama said she had all the evidence of MMDCs who were involved in Galamsey and she would name and shame. You have not named one, you have not shamed any. Party in Yasika, the Nobel professor was in there, names were mentioned. Tell me, Mr. President, if you want us to trust you and follow you, which of the people who, just one person who has been within your government, within your party, within your circles, who has been dealt with? You have not shown commitment one bit. You like to talk, you make speeches. And I keep telling you, Mr. President, when they write the speech for you, sometimes, I don't know, but maybe take your time and read. The people around you, they are not doing you any good. They write nice English for you. And then when they finish, say, oh, let's do tree planting, let's do this, let's do that, because they know Ghanaians naturally will follow those initiatives. How do you plant trees? Have your OT regional minister uproot the trees on the basis that the trees were planted to celebrate June 4. So he uprooted the trees and planted trees. Ajana 1, Ajana 2, cut tree, plant tree. You're wasting money. Nothing has happened to him. He's my friend, I know. But we can't waste state resources. We say we have spent, what, 12 million to plant trees. Well, how many trees? How much trees? 5 million or 7 million. Then this year we say we planted 22 million trees. You see, I told you, seedling distribution is not the same as tree planted. And when you plant the trees, you must monitor the trees and check if they are growing or not. It's been more than a year. Can you show us the trees and their progress? No. Ajana 1, Ajana 2. So, Mr. President, I have showed you, you say you are looking for evidence. I have given you 2 sources of evidence. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a journalist. And what we do is to dig and dig and dig until we find. Now, I've given you 2 sources of evidence. You say you are looking for evidence. Make good your promise, Mr. President. Now, one of your representatives in Bosumifrao, a DCE, a representative, rightly as you said, Article 2431, you nominated him for approval. We had to wait for 9 months, contrary to Act 936, the Local Government Act. You're a lawyer, you know this. Danny, let's end with that DCE's audio, the leaked audio, which I am told the Minister for Local Government has summoned him to come and defend himself. A purported video of him, the DCE, on there. He's in there, he's in that video, the audio. And we begin to ask, if you are ready to crack the whip on the people around you or not. When you finish doing that, you will win our trust to support you. But until that time, Party Yeska is imprinted and engraved in our minds. Until that time, MMDCs are part of the Galamsey menace. Until that time, your DCs themselves are complicit. Play the video, let's end. Good morning.
no person actually a friend say I tell me hospital doctor view on me corner makako home cause it's near me enkoda corner makako na a friend say the America you catch myself you catch my no so the make court ama me pastor no ekokan boy bia o chi ni ko tun mu a me ma yi no enoch o minti ho o na me do number ma no say onye the boy na ye na kola okay na kwa me ni obozu dia aka no o mo ni ntimi ko ye Galamsey ho ni o mo dia you catch my no no pe no buksam eno anu mete you catch my no na den kofo akọ a mo ko ye adwuma no timi o abrochire wa frame kura anope say me dia 5% nto be ma me 15,000 and me boss Monday na kola bi for ma me Kumasi timi meba Monday man say ayi kura no Tuesday sa 15,000 no maame no a wode ne ba ma e de adwuma ma no waje bonsam papa maame no so maame no report me ma region minister me frɛ maame no on fa na me obi live frɛ no me yale nyina no maame no say wode woni me kokot waji ska no ye ya ma no check a waji ka che minister say ye man ska na sa wo ko fe nipa hwehwemu ye wate maame ni ye nipa boni ni papa me hu bi da se me no wa bedada na jinisika na yese ye madwuma ye nyi percentage ene abeji etu de papa no 15,000 de me ma me no sa 15,000 de ma me no ho no yan boy benada no pasha me Kumasi na me fe ma na fa koma ma me no se onji seska no onji wie no so on tia se percentage ya je no that's what chenchira obeje ne 30,000